What impression do you try to do when you first meet someone? Oh, I don't even try. Like, I don't think about that kind of stuff. My attitude is that's just going to take you to like a place of overthinking for me. So for me, it's like, check yourself. Always be on your best behavior. All right, but don't think about it. Just be you. That's my attitude. Just be yourself. All right. Sometimes interacting with people for the first time is weird and awkward. It can just be like that. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's smooth. It's natural. But it's thinking about it that's bad. I just, try and be me and try not to think about it. Easier said than done. One always has to think about his actions with anxiety to ridiculous extremes, says Darthanilis. The thing there is that you say one has to. One has not to. And something that's helpful is realizing that you don't have to think about it. Doesn't mean, oh, I don't. Oh, now I'm fine. I'm fixed. I'm cured. No more anxiety. No, but you can reprogram the way you think, the relationship you have with your own thoughts. And if you're anxious about social interaction, you have to work towards not falling into those thought patterns, because a lot of anxiety is built by thought patterns, right? Anxiety is very similar to excitement as well, right? If you're going to go on a roller coaster, that feeling you feel before you go on it, those butterflies in your stomach, they're a good thing when you go on a roller coaster, but anxiety can make them a bad thing. Please tell me more. How, says Darthanilis. Look up cognitive behavioral therapy, and to give you a kind of brief insight into what it's about, like looking at the way you think and feel and interact with the brain through the lens of you, although you're emotional, your emotions are things happening inside of your brain, right? And they don't have to continue to happen in that way. And I'm talking about thought patterns. Like, a lot of being alive and being a person is feeling a particular way. You have a sense of self, and a lot of that is shaped by how you think and interact with the world on a daily basis. If you start to identify that, oh, I always kind of go down this negative thought path when I interact with this thing or that thing, you can then start to stop yourself. It takes a lot of discipline and practice, but you can start to see the ways where your thinking does not benefit you, does not help you, and then you can start to essentially put more rational and better types of helpful thoughts in those places. You can always change yourself if you wish to, says Alamia. Yeah, and believing that you can change yourself is probably the first step of that, right? Got to have a little bit of belief in the ability to change. I mean, change is what's always happening. Everything is a constant process of change, so why can't you be a part of that as well? If you look at yourself as something or someone who's able to change, then you can change for the better. Do you feel like you've lived this same day many times before, says Azam's dad? I probably could, but I don't look at it like that. I tend to look at each day as like getting up, doing what I love, like just filling the day with the things you want to do and staying focused on goals, Badger says CBT just addresses the fact that negativity can be an endless spiral, and it gives good ways of seeing that. Yes, it does. A lot of it evolves around rationality over positive thinking. Positive thinking is applicable at times and places, but if you're suffering with any form of mental health issue or anxiety, positive thinking doesn't really address anything. When I use positive thinking these days, it's when I know that all the rational work is done, right? The rational mind is in good health. And then I can kind of look at it and I can go, well, whatever's happening, whatever's going on, I can look at this in two ways. And what way do I want to look at it? Probably the positive one. Across the pond, it seems like positive thinking is just being used as an excuse to ignore the problems that are contributing to, says Pale Ghost. Yeah, I could see that. You're not addressing the issue, are you? You're just thinking positively. So like I said, when you've got things under control and you know what's rational and what's not, it gives you this place to use positive thinking. But it's not a good place to start, in my opinion. Captain Barefoot says positive thinking isn't everything because most of the time you see what you have to change, but something blocks it inside, right? Sometimes it's a thought in your hormone system, so thinking isn't enough. I wouldn't really advise on looking at it through the lens of blaming hormones or something like that, purely because, you know, first of all, it puts it out of your control. If you're going to put something out of your control and be like, hey, I have problems with the way that I think and feel and it's my hormones, then you're sort of setting yourself up to never be able to take control of it, right? Like, in the sort of overweight argument, debate, or whatever you want to call it, you might hear the argument that some people say they're overweight and it's genetic. That can totally be true, but statistically it's such a small amount of people that are genetically disposed to hold on to fat and find it very difficult to maintain, you know, and be slim, that a lot of people are essentially using it as an excuse. I can't point the finger because you never know. You can't point the finger and say you're using it as an excuse, but if someone tells themselves that story, then they're giving themselves a reason not to take responsibility for it when it might not even be true. And that is important right there. That you try and take responsibility for the things that you can. Darth and Iris says, what a great approach to frame things as in your responsibility. Definitely helps with feelings of helplessness. Yeah, it would do, wouldn't it? Yeah, absolutely.